Revealed, unexpected chess move by black employee shocks CEO and transforms their lives forever. Marcus's heart raced as the crowd buzzed with anticipation. It was just a chess tournament, but for him, it felt like a fight for recognition in a world that often took no notice of him. The bright lights overhead seemed to magnify the weight of his struggles. Over and over, he found himself overlooked, his brilliance eclipsed by colleagues who navigated the corporate ladder with ease. But today? Today was different. Today, he would show them the power of grit. Growing up in a modest Chicago neighborhood, every success felt like a distant star glimmering, beautiful, yet tragically out of reach. His mother's unwavering faith and the family values she instilled were his guiding light. She believed in hard work, resilience, and sticking together. That belief shaped Marcus into who he was, yet after long hours at his coding desk, he still hurried home not to bask in victory but to care for her ailing health. The tension in the room was electric. CEO Charlie, a grizzled military veteran with years of experience, had announced this tournament as a means to foster unity. But for Marcus, it felt like stepping into a lion's den. As he approached the chessboard, sweat beading on his forehead, doubt gnawed at him. Would he really be able to face someone like Charlie? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the game unfurled, it became an intricate dance of strategy and emotion. Each move echoed his life's struggles, many gambits reflecting battles fought silently in the shadows of the office. He could feel the weight of the crowd pressing in on him, laughter in one corner, whispers of skepticism in another. And there it was, the invisible divide between privilege and hard work, manifesting in the click of pieces sliding across the board. With each passing round, the atmosphere intensified. And then came the moment he faced Charlie for the final match, every move a revelation of their starkly different journeys. Marcus felt the crowd's breath hitch when he nearly delivered a checkmate, but an unexpected blunder spiraled him into doubt. Panic clawed at his chest, the echoes of unspoken biases filled the air. They exchanged glances, Charlie's skepticism mixed with surprise, Marcus's heart pounding with a determination he didn't know he had. It was there, on that worn chessboard, that emotions rippled wildly: fear, hope, resentment, and the longing for respect. The stakes grew beyond the game. Could Charlie see him, really see him, not just as a competitor but as a reflection of something bigger? With every heartbeat, it was more than just a match for Marcus. It was a chance to alter the narrative of their lives. Just as they both began to feel that fragile thread of understanding forming, an ill-timed move turned the tide. The crowd held their breath, eyes wide with disbelief, questioning what it truly meant to foster unity. Marcus stood resolute, the weight of expectation pressing down as he faced not only Charlie but the relentless barriers that surrounded them both. The clock ticked down, pieces sliding into place. In this moment, would they find a bridge between their differing worlds? Or would silence prevail, leaving a mere game to loom larger than the realization that sometimes the most significant victories are shadowed by the weight they carry? The unexpected shift on the board sent a ripple through the crowd, thick as smoke. Marcus could feel the air grow tense, a palpable mix of shock, confusion, and a flicker of hope. His fingers hovered over the pieces, his mind racing. Each choice carried with it the weight of his past and the uncertainty of the future. Charlie leaned forward, brows furrowed, eyes narrowing. "You're making this interesting, Marcus," he said, the gruffness in his voice softened by a hint of intrigue. For the first time, Charlie was seeing him, not just a faceless member of the staff, but someone who challenged the status quo. Sweat dripped down Marcus's temple, but in that moment, the crowd faded away. He thought of his mother, how she offered encouragement even in the darkest times, believing in a brighter horizon. This was his homage to her, a testament to everything she sacrificed while raising him. It was now or never. Taking a deep breath, he steadied himself. He had to ignore the chatter, the skeptical whispers. The board lay bare before him, pieces waiting to dance. With a bold move, Marcus slid his knight across the board, a decision that could either seal his fate or set him free. Charlie watched, his expression morphing. Shock turned to admiration, a spark igniting in his eyes. For a fleeting moment, they were on equal ground. The crowd held its breath, caught in the tension of an unexpected drama unfolding. "Interesting move," Charlie said softly, the weight of his words hanging in the air. "You've got guts." Marcus felt a rush of connection, a bridge forming between their experiences. The world outside the tournament, once constrictive and harsh, suddenly felt expansive, filled with untold possibilities. It was no longer just about winning or losing, it was a moment of realization, that they were both more than their labels. The pieces moved again, and Charlie countered with a decisive play that hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. He hesitated, doubt creeping in once more. But in that fleeting doubt, something clicked. They were not so different, after all. Charlie's drive echoed his own, the endless chase for validation, respect, a place at the table where decisions were made. With renewed vigor, Marcus played on. Each move was fueled by a determination forged in years of struggle, pride swelling in his chest. The crowd was no longer a distant observer, they were fully invested, eyes glued to the board as narratives shifted in real time. And amidst this whirlwind of emotions, he began to see the game as a metaphor for life itself. The sacrifices, the victories, the failures, they were all about connection and understanding. The crowd erupted into cheers, their energy palpable as the match neared its climax. But just as victory felt within reach, a critical blunder caused Marcus's heart to drop. Would they finally see him, or would he remain just another pawn in someone else's game? As the seconds ticked down, he stilled himself, ready to embrace whatever came next. Could this game change their lives forever? In that heartbeat, as he faced Charlie's now amused grin, open questions lingered in the room between them and within themselves. One final move loomed just ahead, and every soul present could feel the tension. Was this the moment they had been waiting for? Would true recognition be born from this board? Marcus's heart raced like a drum in his chest as he processed the board before him. The ticking clock felt deafening. He glanced at Charlie, and for a moment, he was lost in the amber glow of his opponent's determination. Charlie wasn't just a rival, he was a mirror. Inside that fierce exterior was a man who yearned for respect, just like Marcus. The pieces seemed to mock Marcus. He could almost hear them whispering, urging him to make a choice that mattered. Taking a breath, he swept his hand across the board, his fingers hovering over his rook. He could settle for safety or take a leap. He remembered his mother's voice in his mind, urging him to be brave, to seize opportunities when they rushed toward him. Time stood still. As he moved the rook forward, he sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The room buzzed louder, alive with gasps. It wasn't just a game anymore, this was a symbolic battle for his place in this world. The crowd's reactions rang in his ears, a chorus of surprise and anticipation. Charlie raised an eyebrow, a look of genuine respect crossing his face. "Now that's a bold choice," he said, a slight grin beginning to form. The connection built just a moment ago surged back, more potent than before. They were no longer adversaries, they were two men trading stories through the intricate dance of a chess game. As they continued, Marcus felt lighter, as if the pieces on the board bore more weight than the stakes of the match. He challenged Charlie with every move, reviving lessons from long-forgotten afternoons spent with his mother. Each piece that advanced was a testament to the struggle they both shared, the grind to break free from the constraints of expectation. The crowd's energy hummed like electricity, filling each corner of the room. Whispers of disbelief and admiration spiraled through the air, igniting warmth in the chill of competition. What started as a chess match became a tapestry of lives interwoven, each person in attendance reflecting their own dreams and fears through every move made, but like every good narrative, things took a turn. Charlie made a surprising counter, snatching Marcus's bishop with deliberate precision. The crowd erupted, laughter and cheers echoing as if the moment itself had become pivotal. Marcus's gut twisted, but he steadied his breath. He was not here to fold, not when he had pushed so far. Instead, he took in the moment, letting realization wash over him. Winning isn't everything, he thought. As his next move approached, clarity washed over him. What mattered was the journey, the connection, and the understanding that came from it. He leaned forward slightly, a smile twitching at the corners of his lips. A spark ignited in his mind, an insane strategy that might just work. His mother's encouragement echoed louder. Sometimes, you have to be a little reckless. With a flick of his wrist, he knocked over his queen, declaring, "I'm all in." The silence that followed was deafening, replaced only by a collective intake of breath from the crowd. Charlie's eyes widened in shock. Was this enough to turn the tide? Was loss now an option on the table? As the seconds ticked away, the board remained poised for uncertain outcomes, exhilaration hanging in the balance. Would this one rash move shift their fates, or had he just declared his downfall? The tension was thick enough to slice. Would this audacious gamble pay off, or was he on the verge of defeat? A second dragged into eternity. Time seemed to lose its grip as the crowd held its breath, staring intently at the board. Charlie's expression transformed, confusion giving way to contemplation, his mind racing through the possible responses. The weight of Marcus's daring move hung in the air, thick and palpable. Marcus's heart pounded. Had he sacrificed too much? With every passing moment, doubt crashed like waves against the shore of his resolve. He could see the gears turning behind Charlie's intense gaze. The applause, the gasps, it all faded into the background noise. What mattered was the man across from him. Their connection, forged in competition, was now at a tipping point. "What will you do?" Marcus finally whispered, though the words felt too loud in the hush. A ripple of laughter emerged from the audience, lightening the tension as someone called out, "That's a risky move, man." But Marcus barely registered it. His eyes held Charlie's, waiting, hoping to see understanding spark. Charlie grinned, a slow smile that brightened the room. "You've thrown the gauntlet down. Brave indeed." His fingers danced above the board, tracing the path of possible outcomes with the intensity of an artist crafting his masterpiece. The crowd leaned closer, pulled in by the gravity of the moment. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this was about more than just a game, it was about breaking barriers. The pressure King's move unveiled wasn't just strategic, it spoke to their own lives, tensions simmering just beneath the surface, dreams tangled in societal expectations. They shared this journey, with each pawn sacrificed echoing their private battles for self-worth. The clock ticked steadily, reminding them both that time was not their ally. Marcus's heart held its breath as Charlie made his decision, a swift, resolute move that reclaimed Marcus's precious bishop, spinning the board as he played his next piece with grace. The audience erupted again, the energy palpable, bouncing off the walls like sunlight scattering through glass. "Not bad," Marcus conceded, a genuine appreciation for the skill in his opponent's actions sparking inside him. The moment felt monumental, not just a shift in the game, but a mutual respect cemented between two men striving for something greater. Yet, amidst the challenge, a chill coursed through Marcus. With each piece moving, he recognized the stakes rising. Charlie might be in control now, but Marcus remembered the fire that lit his resolve. He wasn't going to back down. This match was acting out their lives, their struggles to be seen, to claim their places, to win their battles. Determination surged within him. He wouldn't be the sacrificed piece, the side note in someone else's story. "You think you can read me, Charlie?" he called out, injecting confidence into his tone. With renewed vigor, he scanned the board, hunting for openings, strategies inspired by flashes of insight. It was about to shift again. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw something, an opportunity so clear it was breathtaking. It wouldn't be a simple win, it would be a statement, a declaration of who he was, rising from within the layers of fear he had carried for too long. He poised his fingers over a knight, the last piece slid into place as the crowd fell silently, bracing for the next showdown. Biting his lip, he steadied himself, narrowing his focus. Let's see if you can catch me now. Would he finally be the victor? Or would this bold declaration not just reshape their game, but their very lives? As the pieces hovered in the balance, Marcus inhaled deeply, feeling both exhilaration and dread ripple through him like thunder. The stage was set. Would he break free or shatter beneath the pressure? The next move awaited, heavy with possibility, carrying them both toward an unforeseen conclusion. Marcus's fingers trembled slightly as he hovered above the knight. The weight of the moment pressed on him, a palpable force. The knight was more than just a piece on the board, it was a representation of his resolve, his fight to embrace who he truly was. With a deep breath, he moved it forward, cutting through the tension like a knife through fog. The crowd inhaled collectively, a shared tension gripping them tighter than any physical thread. Marcus felt their energy surging toward him, a current of hope, fear, and anticipation. For the first time, the realization of what the game had become washed over him completely. It was a mirror reflecting his struggle against the barriers life had placed before him. Charlie's brow furrowed, puzzlement creeping across his features as he processed Marcus's move. "You've really thought this through," he said, but the challenge in his voice was unmistakable. The smile that had blossomed moments earlier faded, replaced by a seriousness that hinted at unspoken histories they both faced. As Marcus watched Charlie's eyes dart across the board, he knew he had tapped into something larger than either of them. The game wasn't just a contest, it represented their journey, dotted with obstacles that threatened to keep them locked in a battle with their own insecurities. He could see Charlie wrestling internally, both with the game and with the stakes that were now apparent. The audience's murmurs swelled, reflecting the uncertainty in the air. There was a kind of solidarity building among them, a recognition that no matter the outcome of this match, change was unfolding. People didn't just want to watch, they wanted to feel part of something that transcended the game. Charlie steeled himself, blocking out the din around him. His fingers, poised over a rook, seemed to tremble with equal parts fear and urgency. Finally, he moved it forward. The piece clattered onto the board, but the sound felt muted, swallowed by the weight of the room. Marcus's heart raced. He could almost sense Charlie's thought process, the deeper reason behind each calculated move. "Not giving up, are you?" Marcus shot back, his voice steadier than he felt. "You can try to control the board, but you can't control me." There was a fierceness in his own words that surprised him, yet it felt right. The sentiment echoed in the silent stands, and he caught a glimpse of nodding heads and murmurs of agreement. Just as the energy swelled, Charlie pulled the rook back, his expression suddenly open, vulnerable. He looked right at Marcus, really looked like he was seeing not just the opponent, but the person standing behind the pieces. "It's not about controlling you," he said, his voice carrying a weight that quieted the crowd. "It's about finding a way together through all of this." The sincerity in Charlie's eyes caught Marcus off guard. Here was this fierce competitor, revealing a glimmer of his own struggle against the constraints they both faced. The barriers began to dissolve not just between them, but within Marcus himself. As the board lay open, the pieces waiting for their fates, it dawned on Marcus that the true victory wouldn't be in winning the game. It would be in their shared understanding, their willingness to confront life on each other's terms. The clock ticked, each second unfurling like a ribbon of time stretched thin. Marcus's next move loomed large. He was on the edge of change, a transformation wrapped in uncertainty. He could feel every heartbeat, both his and Charlie's, almost in sync, as if they were dancing in unison. What if this game could shift more than just pieces on a board? What if it could change them both, start a journey that neither had prepared for? With the world holding its breath, Marcus reached for a pawn, his decision echoing with the promise of something new. Would it fortify his emerging identity, or provoke an even bigger confrontation? As contact was made, the board shimmered with unrealized potential. Marcus's hand hovered over the pawn, an energy pulsing through him. He had always found comfort in the straightforwardness of a pawn's movement. Simple, predictable. Yet right now, it felt like wielding a weapon. With resolute determination, he nudged the piece forward, reclaiming a sense of agency he had long sought. As the pawn slid into position, a ripple of gasps surged from the audience. The room buzzed with tense anticipation, as if the air crackled with static electricity. The pawn had moved into a place of threat, a direct challenge to Charlie's positioned pieces. Marcus could feel the weight of the crowd's expectation resting heavily upon him, but he didn't shy away. Instead, he embraced it. Charlie's eyes widened, surprise filtering through his furrowed brow. This wasn't just a game, this was a revelation. A bold move, he conceded, though the corner of his mouth curled upward, half impressed, half competitive. You know what happens next, right? Do I? Marcus shot back, surprising himself with his clarity. Maybe I'm more of a risk-taker than you thought. His voice was steady, no longer the cautious boy hiding behind doubt, but a man stepping into the light of his truth. The audience leaned in with bated breath. In that moment, it felt as if they were history in the making, witnesses to an unfolding narrative that transcended the chessboard, the tale of two young men tearing down barriers, rewriting their stories with every deliberate move. Charlie's expression shifted, the tension between them transforming from rivalry into something more nuanced. Their shared humanity blossomed in the air, thick with anticipation. Then let us see how far you'll take this, he replied, determination flashing in his eyes. His fingers danced across the board, deftly repositioning a knight. The piece leapt forward, capturing Marcus's pawn with a sharp clang, the sound resonating like the pulse of Marcus's heartbeat. But there was no sting in the loss. Instead, it felt liberating. He hadn't just moved his pawn, he had redirected the entire course of the game. Nice recovery, Marcus said, his voice light, infused with a newfound respect. But it's more than just pieces now, isn't it? The crowd murmured in agreement, aware that they were watching more than just a chess match. They were witnessing a moment of mutual respect building between Marcus and Charlie. Charlie paused, the knight hovering above the board as if contemplating the complexity of the game's stakes. Yeah, it is. We're both playing for something more, aren't we? The question hung in the air, and a silence settled, enveloping them like a warm embrace. Marcus felt his heart swell, tethered to a shared understanding that went deeper than competition, weaving through their individual struggles. He opened his mouth, a million possible replies swirling in his mind, but the right words eluded him. Just then, a flicker of awareness sparked in Charlie's gaze. You know, maybe moving forward isn't just about winning. It's realizing who we are along the way. Marcus nodded, the truth in that statement resonating powerfully. They had been trapped in their heads for too long, now it was time to break free and embrace vulnerability. Their paths had diverged, but now they were converging, transforming under the light of these honest exchanges. The clock continued to tick, the sound echoing through the silence, reminding them of the urgency of this moment. It was time to push beyond the boundaries of the board, to redefine what victory truly meant. Marcus knew something had shifted between them, a newfound alliance forming in the midst of their competition. They were not just players anymore, but allies in their respective journeys. Before Charlie could respond, a sudden shout erupted from the crowd. Make your move, Marcus. It was a rallying cry, a reminder of the eyes watching, the hearts invested. Marcus felt the weight of it all. This next move could rewrite everything. Would he take the risk to bridge the gap between them, or would he retreat back into his safety net? With the stakes rising, a single truth emerged as he pondered his choice. Every move forward was a step into the unknown. As his eyes returned to the board, he realized he had one unplayed card left. With a grin that belied his inner turmoil, Marcus reached for an unexpected piece, ready to defy all expectations. What lay ahead could change everything, both for him and Charlie. Would it be the moment they embraced their truths together, or would it threaten to pull them apart? Marcus's fingers wrapped around the rook, its weight solid and reassuring in his palm. The piece had always been a symbol of strength, powerful moves that could shift the game's tide. He could feel Charlie's gaze boring into him, curious and knowing. In that moment, the chessboard transformed into a battleground, and the crowd held their breath, eagerly anticipating the fireworks. "Are you really going to do this?" Charlie asked, a slight smirk playing on his lips. There was a challenge in his voice, a dare that hung in the space between them. Marcus took a deep breath. "Yes. Yes, I am." His heart raced, but this time it felt good. Empowering. With a swift motion, he moved the rook, sliding it across the board to pin Charlie's knight. The clang of pieces echoed in the room like a gunshot, breaking the tension. Gasps erupted from the spectators. They were witnessing something raw, a clash of wills that far surpassed any ordinary competition. Marcus could see the shift in Charlie's expression. Surprise gave way to admiration. This was not just another move. It was a statement. A declaration that he was no longer playing defense in this game or in life. "You've got guts, I'll give you that," Charlie said, his voice steady despite the surprise. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms with newfound respect. "But you've just put yourself in a precarious position." "Show me," Marcus shot back, a pulse of adrenaline surging through him. Every word felt electric, threading through the air and connecting them in a way he had never imagined possible. It was beyond a mere game now, it was a reckoning of sorts, an unveiling of true selves. Charlie took his time, moving thoughtfully. He repositioned his queen into a fierce attack zone, a calculated risk meant to assert dominance. A collective murmur rippled through the audience. The stakes were escalating, emotions heightened, the chessboard pulsed with every heartbeat. Marcus swallowed hard, not just at the game but at the realization of what this meant. They were no longer merely opponents. They were kindred spirits searching for validation and meaning. They were fighting not just for victory but for affirmation in an unforgiving world. As the game progressed, the pieces danced on the board, reflecting the unspoken battles in their lives. In every move, there was a story: Marcus's past struggles and Charlie's silent battles, intertwining like the paths they had walked before this moment. "Check," Charlie finally called out after making a decisive move. He leaned forward, eyes locked with Marcus's, a challenge that sparked something deeper. This wasn't just about chess anymore, this was about connection and understanding. Caught off guard, Marcus's heart raced again. Adaptation was essential. Each piece, every pawn, rook, and knight began to represent more than strategy. They embodied aspirations, fears, and both the burdens they carried. This realization flooded through him, igniting a fire of resolve. As he studied the board, he knew this wasn't the moment to back down. In this game, as in life, retreating meant losing a part of himself. He looked around, the faces of those witnessing this moment inspiring him, filling him with warmth and courage. With determination, Marcus made his move, ensuring both men stood firm in their newfound respect. He was close to something transformative. Would this game lead to understanding, or would it fracture everything with one misstep? As their eyes locked, a silent pact was formed. Two men, no longer opponents, but allies standing on the brink of discovery. Marcus felt something shift within him, a stirring sense of purpose. He was ready to delve deeper, ready to embrace whatever came next. And then, just as he prepared for the implications of his move, a voice broke through the tension: "What happens if neither of you wins?" The question hung heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of the deeper struggles waiting to be resolved outside the chessboard. Would victory truly bring them together, or would it only keep them apart? The air crackled with anticipation, and for a brief moment, the bustling crowd faded away. Marcus felt the weight of that question settle heavily in his chest. What if neither of them won? The thought loomed like a dark cloud, casting shadows on the vibrant emotions swirling around the room. His eyes darted back to the chess pieces. The board was a world unto itself, where every movement held consequences far beyond the game. He could sense the shift within Charlie too, like a taut string ready to snap. "Maybe winning isn't everything," Marcus replied, his voice steady despite his internal turmoil. The statement felt heavy with meaning, echoing the unspoken emotions they both shared, even beyond that chessboard. Sometimes, there's more to discover in the game than just victory. Charlie visibly paused, the mischievous edge in his expression softening, revealing something deeper. So you really think this is more than just a match for you? Yes, Marcus affirmed, heart pounding. I can feel it. Like you said, I've put myself in a dangerous position. But that risk? That's where growth happens. He took a deep breath, searching Charlie's gaze. And I think it's true for both of us. Charlie leaned back again, but this time his brow furrowed in contemplation. The pieces on the board ceased to be just wooden shapes, they became symbols of dreams, sacrifice, longing for acceptance. Marcus wanted to know what lay beneath Charlie's bravado. In a move steeped in newfound boldness, Charlie advanced his queen again, placing it dangerously close to Marcus's king. The crowd gasped collectively as the tension surged, a symbol of the underlying battle they were both navigating in their lives. Check again, he announced, but the heaviness in his tone hinted at more than just a game. I'm not afraid of the check, Marcus countered, emboldened. He slid a pawn forward, creating a protective barrier for his king. When he looked at Charlie again, there was understanding in the air, a thread weaving them closer despite the intensity of the match. I think I get it, Charlie murmured, eyes narrowing as they studied the board with a new perspective. Instead of just focusing on winning, can we explore what this could mean for us? Marcus's heart leaped. As they continued their intricate dance on the board, he realized they were exploring the deeper meaning of connection beyond competition. Every move unwrapped layers of vulnerability he never thought to expose. The crowd continued to murmur, but their voices faded into a gentle buzz, leaving only the steady heartbeat of the game, their silent communication filling the void. Each time one of them made a move, it felt more personal, like an invitation to forge a bond. I won the fight to win, Charlie suddenly declared, breaking the trance but solidifying their shared resolve. I want to connect, and maybe find a way to both learn from this. Exactly, Marcus replied, a spark igniting in his chest. They were no longer mere players in a game, they were allies in a quest for greater self-awareness. Just then, the crowd began to shift, their focus momentarily diverted as whispers rippled through the audience. A newcomer appeared at the edge of the tension, drawing their gazes away from the board. Is this where the real matchup begins? Someone in the back shouted, drawing the comedic energy back for a heartbeat. Marcus's brows narrowed. He didn't want to lose the moment. Doesn't matter who walks in, Charlie, he said quietly. What matters is how we move forward from here. Yet, excitement crackled anew, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was waiting just outside their fragile bubble of discovery. As the game continued, they faced each other with fierce determination. Both players undoubtedly were ready for whatever challenge lay beyond the chessboard. But as Marcus made his next move, would it draw them together, or pull them apart, shaking the foundation of everything they had just begun to understand? As Marcus shifted his pawn, the excitement in the room buzzed like electricity. The crowd, once again riveted, leaned in closer, eager for the unfolding drama. He could feel the heat of anticipation radiating from them, but his focus remained locked on Charlie. They were mere inches apart, yet the world around them felt miles away. Your move, Charlie, Marcus said, heart racing. Charlie studied the board, eyes flicking back and forth across the pieces with a mix of contemplation and resolve. What if I told you that this is about more than just us? He murmured, almost to himself. Marcus's breath caught. He wanted to know what lay behind those words. What do you mean? Charlie took a deep breath, his courage visibly amping up. I want to show you something, he replied, finally maneuvering his pieces with conviction. His rook barreled forward. What if we both think one step ahead? From this game, what if we can learn how to face the bigger games in our lives? Marcus nodded slowly, feeling the weight of those words sink in. There was something profound bubbling beneath the surface, a shared realization that echoed beyond the game itself. Then, suddenly, an even stronger presence crashed into their moment. Excuse me, can I get through? The newcomer, clad in a sharp suit that screamed authority, pushed through the formed crowd. Marcus's heart sank. The interruption felt like the universe drawing a curtain over their intimate exchange. Every instinct screamed for him to knock the thoughts of this man out of his mind and focus on the pawn set up on the board. "What do you want?" Charlie snapped, irritation shimmering in his tone. There had been enough unintentional disruption for one evening. "Just here to observe," said the newcomer, arrogance dripping from his voice. He looked over the board disdainfully, eyes narrowing. "And it seems the winner is about to be determined. Nice to see you both engaging in this cute pastime." His condescension hung heavily in the air, eliciting murmurs from the audience. Marcus's frustration ignited. How could someone miss the beauty of the moment? How could they ignore that for Marcus and Charlie this was a pivotal point, not merely a game? "Cute? It's much more than that," Marcus challenged, breaking free from the momentary barrage. This means something." Charlie looked at Marcus, surprise etched on his face. He grit his teeth, finding strength in Marcus's words. Together, they were a fortress against the onslaught of cynicism. In the face of this, they embraced the newfound connection, eager to hold on to the depth of their interaction and the growth it promised. "Right now," Charlie added, steely determination gleaming in his eyes, "it's about the journey we share. It's about daring to be vulnerable." The audience members leaned closer, intrigued by the clash. The electricity surged between the three of them. The newcomer looked taken aback, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. "What do you think you're doing?" He scoffed, though his tone had softened, feeling the shift in the room. "You can underestimate us all you want," Marcus replied, confidence flooding his body as he squared his shoulders. "But maybe it's time to start seeing people for who they really are, instead of dismissing them." The tension spiraled, as the crowd began to murmur in agreement. Was that a sense of solidarity blooming in the air? Marcus could almost feel the invisible strings weaving their shared fate tighter. "So where do we go from here?" Charlie asked, his eyes locking onto Marcus's, the challenge lingering in the air as a spark ignited between them, a shared recognition of the risk and potential ahead. Before he could answer, an unexpected tension filled the air, like the calm before a storm. The crowd hushed, watching as the newcomer took a step back, surveying the chessboard once more. "Perhaps this isn't just a game," he mused. Marcus could feel the reckoning of choices looming ahead. Each move on the board was now intertwined with their lives, paving the way to unforeseen revelations. They had stirred something greater. Was it destiny or merely a twist of fate? As Charlie made his decision, would it spark a change in their lives or open the door to something they didn't expect? An intense curiosity hung in the air. The tension thickened as Charlie picked up his piece, holding it like it was the most important decision he'd ever made. "You know what?" he said, locking eyes with Marcus, his voice steady and clear. "We've been playing this game for too long, behind our walls. Let's flip the board." For a split second, time stood still. Charlie's suggestion wasn't just about the game, it was a call to action, a challenge to their ways of thinking. A ripple of excitement passed through the crowd, fueled by the contagious energy that had formed between the two competitors. "Flip the board?" Marcus repeated, his heart racing. "What do you mean?" "Let's not just accept the roles we've been given," Charlie said, his brow furrowing with determination. "Let's find a way to rewrite the rules from this moment on. It's not about winning for the sake of dominance. It's about what we can build together." The realization washed over Marcus like a wave. It was as if the universe had aligned in that single moment. This wasn't just about chess, it was about transforming their world, their careers, their lives, their connections. "Yes!" The crowd cheered in unified voices, emboldened by Charlie's proclamation. Marcus felt the swell of emotion fill him, as if the collective hope of everyone present energized his very soul. He glanced around, meeting the eyes of familiar faces. Each person embodied a different piece of his life: supportive friends, skeptical colleagues, and his beloved mother, who taught him about resilience and hope. "Let us do it," he declared, his voice brimming with conviction. "No more pawns, kings, or queens. Just us two individuals ready to face what lies ahead. Let us show everyone we can build something beautiful together." Charlie smiled, a genuine grin that transformed his rugged demeanor. "After all, it's about respect, right?" he said. "Let's redefine our worth beyond these pieces." The atmosphere morphed into something almost magical, where every heart present beat as one. With a flourish, Marcus lifted the chess pieces, the noise of shifting wood echoing like a heartbeat of hope in that packed room. Together, they created something new. Each piece symbolized their shared journey, separation replaced by collaboration. They were no longer battling against each other, they stood side by side against the larger challenges of their lives. "Today," Marcus said, raising his voice for everyone to hear, "we stand on the brink of change. Our past struggles do not define us, nor do the traditional hierarchies of our workplace." The crowd erupted in applause, a sea of nodding heads and enthusiastic cheers. In that moment, Marcus felt the weight of years of judgment release its grip, the shackles of self-doubt crumbled away. "Let us open the door together," Charlie added, unwavering and resolute. "Let us change how we perceive success, vulnerability, and recognition. Together we can foster an environment where everyone thrives." As they stood there, side by side, the future glowed bright before them like a flood of golden light. Nothing would remain the same again. "Who's in?" Marcus called out, inspired by the vigor surging between them. Hands shot up, voices echoed, "We are." Laughter erupted as they shared stories, not just about chess, but about life, their triumphs and troubles, the quiet battles they had faced that forged connections deeper than any piece on a board. And in that moment, the world beyond the chess tournament began to shift, infused with spirit and understanding. With hopeful hearts, they started anew, two men crying out not only for their own victories but for the recognition of everyone around them. The game of chess had sparked a revolution of camaraderie, an awakening to the power of unity amid diversity. As the noise of old barriers shattered like glass, Marcus beamed. He wasn't just seen as a player, he was a vital thread in the fabric of their collective journey. Victory, it turned out, wasn't about defeating an opponent, it was about forging bonds and empowering each other on shared paths to greatness. Now, the real game had only just begun. Don't wait any longer. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to really boost the algorithm. Comment below with your thoughts on this dramatic ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing transformation. This is the moment to show your support, and true fans know how important those actions are.